Hi, this is Dr. Swapna and I welcome you to your Learn Lab. If you are an IGNOU Psychology student looking for help in your studies, you have reached the right place. Here, we have lecture videos on different core and elective subjects of IGNOU BA Psychology, and we help you here to ace your exams. So, hit subscribe and join me on this learn journey. We are moving on to block 2 of BPCC 102, which is biopsychology, and we learn about our nervous system. We have already covered neurons, which are the structural and functional units of the nervous system. We have seen how neurons generate and transport signals also. In case you haven't watched those videos yet, please visit the playlist for BPCC 102. I'll add the link to the description for your ease. In this video, we will cover what nervous system is, what nervous system does in our body, and what are the different categories of nervous system we have. Let's see what nervous system is all about. What is a nervous system? Nervous system is the body's communication network responsible for receiving signals from external environment. How does it receive signals from external environment? Through the sense organs. And from the sense organs, these signals are taken in by the sensory neurons. We have already learnt about sensory neurons and motor neurons, right? So, nervous system is responsible for receiving the signals from outside and then processing these signals to find the meaning and purpose of the incoming information and then responding to the information. And why does it respond to the information? Because this response tells our body how to act, what to do about the information that is coming in. Alright? These responses to incoming information in the form of electrical signals control every activity of the person from physical movement and basic bodily functions to thought, memory, and emotions. Alright, so we have already learnt about neurons and how electrical impulses are generated and conducted, right? So the information that is coming in from outside is converted into electrical signals, and these signals are taken to all parts of the body, and these signals tell our body like if you should walk now or you should stop walking, if you should sit or you should lie, or you should eat, are you even hungry, or if you want to think about something or you want to learn or memorize something. Anything and everything you do is controlled by your nervous system. What is the nervous system made of? This also we have seen. Nervous system is made up of different kind of cells. Cells which form the basic functional and structural unit of our human body. What are the different kind of cells that we have learnt which are present in the nervous system? Neurons, nerve cells, right? Glial cells. We have learned different types of glial cells also. Anyway, I'll be putting the link to the playlist in the description. You can go back and check that video. Besides neurons and glial cells, we have a fluid matrix. All of the nervous system is kind of floating in a fluid matrix. We'll see what this fluid is in as the video progresses. Okay, so what is your nervous system made of? Neurons, glial cells, and a fluid matrix. All right. Let's look deeper into the functions of the nervous system. Nervous system has four main functions. All right. The first one is receiving and processing sensory information. We have already discussed this. So what does nervous system do? It detects stimuli or any information that is coming in from the external environment, like something you see or something you hear or a particular smell that you can smell, or you touch something. All these are different kind of information that nervous system catches on. It also receives information from inside your body, such as pain, or maybe there is an increase in body temperature, right? So, nervous system receives and processes all these sensory information, and then it decides what to do about it. Okay. Secondly, it sends signals. The incoming information is, what converted into electrical signals, processed, and then transmitted all over the body to elicit a response. Like after processing all this information, the nervous system tells the body how to respond to it. Maybe by moving your hand, or maybe moving a leg, maybe breathing. Breathing deeper, right? So nervous system converts the incoming information into signals and then transmits it across the body, telling it what to do. Thirdly, it controls body function. Our nervous system regulates and controls all the essential functions like breathing, digestion, heartbeat, uh, any activity you can think you are doing. Right now, you are listening to my video, you're listening to my voice, it's registering in your head, then you are understanding what I'm saying. All this is a part of the function of your nervous system. All right. Then, last one, enabling higher level functions. Your nervous system allows you to have complex cognitive processes. We have seen what is cognitive processes, right? Like thinking, learning, memory, or emotional regulation, right? So these are the main functions of the nervous system. Literally everything you do, it's all nervous system. All right. Next, we come into classification of nervous system. What are the different types or different categories of nervous system we have, which helps us in our daily activities? Nervous system can be classified into mainly two. Okay, first one is central nervous system, and the second one is peripheral nervous system. All right, you can see here I have a crude diagram also to show you what central nervous system is. As the name suggests, it's the center of all neural activities. It's like the command center or the head office that makes all the decision and sends out commands or information, everything. Like it processes all the incoming info and then it sends out responses also. It decides the responses also. All right. And central nervous system is composed of mainly two organs, which is brain and spinal cord. You can see here, this image here shows central nervous system with the brain and your spinal cord. Okay. Besides brain and spinal cord, central nervous system consists of interneurons. We have learned the types of neurons, right? We have sensory neurons, we have motor neurons, and then we have interneurons. What does the interneuron do? If you recall, interneurons connect the sensory neurons with motor neurons. All right. And we also learned that interneurons are present in brain and spinal cord. So the first type of nervous system, central nervous system, is composed of or it contains brain and spinal cord. This is the central command of the nervous system and it has interneurons. All right. The second part, peripheral nervous system. Peripheral means towards the outer side. Okay, so brain and spinal cord forms the center, and beyond that is the peripheral nervous system, and it is composed of a network of neurons. Every neuron that is outside brain and spinal cord makes up the peripheral nervous system. All right, and what does this network of neurons do? These serve as the communication channel for all the signals. They are the messengers that they bring info to the brain and spinal cord also, and from the brain and spinal cord they take messages to all the different parts of the body. All right, so if central nervous system is formed of interneurons, what is peripheral nervous system made of? It's composed of sensory and motor neurons. Okay, so you can connect it this way. Peripheral nervous system, it occupies the whole of your body except for the brain and spinal cord, right? So it collects the sensory neurons or the afferent neurons or the arriving neurons bring the signals from external environment or the internal from inside your body, and it takes it to brain or the spinal cord, which is the central nervous system. Okay, so inside the brain and spinal cord we have these interneurons, and interneurons they collect all the processed information from brain and spinal cord and pass it on to the motor neurons, which are the efferent neurons or the exiting neurons, which take information from brain and spinal cord to rest of the body. All right, I hope you understood the connection. These are the two primary classification of nervous system, central nervous system and peripheral nervous system. So the story of central nervous system ends here. We'll learn more in detail about brain and spinal cord in our coming videos. So we'll continue with the story of peripheral nervous system in here. All right. The peripheral nervous system is further classified into two. First is afferent division. Second is efferent division. I'm sure you have already guessed what these are because we have already studied the afferent neurons and efferent neurons. All right. So the afferent division is the sensory division. Okay. We said that afferent neurons are the sensory neurons which collect information from outside the body and takes it to the central nervous system to be processed. Right? We said that afferent is arriving. This was our trick to remember afferent and efferent. Right? Efferent division is the motor division. Right? This takes the signal from the central nervous system to rest of the body. Right? So whatever information is taken to the brain and spinal cord, they process this information and then pass on the decision or the outcome to the motor division. And motor division takes it to different parts of your body and tells those parts what to do. All right. So that was afferent division and efferent division. These are the two classifications of peripheral nervous system. Going forward, the motor or efferent division is further classified into two. These are somatic nervous system and autonomic nervous system. Somatic nervous system is involved in all the actions that you do purposefully. For example, you want to drink a glass of water. So what do? You decide to walk to the water, you stand up, use your legs, move towards the water, look around, find the glass, pick the glass using your hands, pour water into it, and then drink it. In case you don't want a glass of water, if there is a bottle of water right in front of you, you pick the bottle and drink directly from it, right? So all of these activities that are involved in you drinking water is something you are doing on purpose. And those actions are controlled by somatic nervous system. All right. So somatic nervous system is involved in voluntary control of skeletal muscles. It's involved in sensory information from the skin, joints and muscles. It's also involved in voluntary reflexes. Now, what are voluntary reflexes? These are those actions which you can consciously control, but still you perform it with a, rapid involuntary response, like something you cannot control. So example is sneezing. You know when you're about to sneeze, and at times you even try to control it, right? And maybe sometimes you successfully control it also. Similarly, coughing, right? So these are the examples of voluntary reflex actions. These are reflexes, something you can do without thinking, but there is a probability that you can control that also. All right. So that was somatic nervous system for you, which is involved in voluntary responses. All right. Next we have autonomic nervous system. This is responsible for all the involuntary physiological processes, including heart rate, blood pressure, respiration, digestion, and sexual arousal. All right. So first we learned central nervous system and peripheral nervous system. Central nervous system consisted of brain and spinal cord. Peripheral nervous system had all the other neurons. Peripheral nervous system was further classified into afferent and efferent, right? Afferent was sensory, efferent was motor. Now we are learning the classification of efferent division or the motor division. What are those? Somatic nervous system and autonomic nervous system. Somatic nervous system deals with voluntary control of actions. Autonomic nervous system deals with involuntary actions. So maybe you can remember it this way. Autonomic sounds somewhat like what? Automatic, and you can relate that to involuntary functions, right? So I think I don't have any other shortcut for you to remember this. Maybe you can use this autonomic, automatic, involuntary, right? Next, now the classification doesn't end here. Autonomic nervous system is further divided into two. These are sympathetic nervous system and parasympathetic nervous system. All right. Now, Sympathetic nervous system, this activates during stress or danger. Whenever your brain perceives that you are in danger or you are in highly stressful environment, sympathetic nervous system is activated. And what does it do? It speeds up your responses, right? It's like an emergency alarm. What happens when an emergency alarm goes off? It triggers an emergency mode. In our body, when this kind of an emergency mode is activated, more energy is generated and used up, heartbeat is increased, breathing also increases because the body needs more oxygen at that point. You sweat a lot, right? So, sympathetic nervous system activates body's flight or fight response, right? Whenever there is a danger situation, it will either make you run or fight it, right? It prepares the body for action by increasing heart rate, respiration, and blood flow to muscles while slowing down non-essential functions like digestion. So sympathetic nerves would be like, okay, let's not do anything that is not required at this moment. You need to run away from this tiger. So even if you're not digesting your food at this time, it's okay. You need more energy in your legs. You need to run, right? So everything the body needs to run at that time will be triggered by the sympathetic nervous system. So sympathetic nervous system is sympathizing with your situation, maybe the dangerous situation or the stressful situation, and it is helping you overcome it. Parasympathetic nervous system is antagonistic to the sympathetic nervous system. We have learnt about agonist and antagonist, right? What was antagonist? Something which functions exactly opposite to, right? So parasympathetic nervous system is antagonistic to sympathetic nervous system. It functions exactly opposite to what it does. So if sympathetic nervous system is going to be like an emergency alarm system, parasympathetic nervous system would be something that calms you down. When the body feels safe, when brain perceives that okay, the danger is gone, everything is okay now, this part, the parasympathetic nervous system, slows down the body. It calms it down. It's like a spa treatment. Relaxes your body, lowers the heart rate and breathing, generally makes you calm, right? So parasympathetic nervous system promotes rest and digest functions such as slowing heart rate, increasing digestion, and facilitating urination and defecation. All these functions are otherwise stopped when the sympathetic nervous system is in force. All right. So this was sympathetic nervous system and parasympathetic nervous system. Let's look a bit more in detail what are the different functions, with different antagonistic functions which are performed by sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. Yeah, I have a infographic here. So on one side I have parasympathetic nervous system and on the other side I have sympathetic nervous system. Okay, let's first look at what sympathetic system do. It dilates the pupil. What does dilating the pupil means? It opens your eyes. Like, your eyes would be wide open. When something dangerous happens or you're in stress, your eyes wide open, right? That's what is dilation of pupil. It inhibits salivation. Okay, you don't need saliva at that point. You're not eating anything. You're in a dangerous situation. You need to run. No point in having a saliva at that point. So, sympathetic nervous system inhibits salivation at that point. It increases the heart rate. Why does it increase the heart rate? Because heart is the organ responsible for pumping the blood into all parts of your body. And what does blood do? Blood carries oxygen and all the necessary nutrients required for the functioning of your body. So by increasing the heart rate, more blood is being pumped into different parts of your body, providing more energy and nutrients so that it can function more efficiently. All right. Dilates bronchi. Bronchi is a part of your lungs. Dilating bronchi means more air coming in. More air, more oxygen. More oxygen is required by your body parts to function. All right. Then sympathetic nervous system inhibits digestion. There's no point in eating food when when your tiger is chasing you. So you don't have to digest at that point any food. So digestion is a function that is stopped. Whatever energy your body might use for digesting the food at that time is redirected to other functions such as running away. All right. Lastly, it inhibits contraction of bladder. Inhibits contraction of bladder means you won't feel like urinating at that moment. Okay. You will be more focused on escaping, keep bringing yourself to a safe zone. So Sympathetic nervous system inhibits contraction of bladder also. So, in a nutshell, sympathetic nervous system will sympathize with your situation, the dangerous or stressful situation you are in, and it will help you overcome it. Next, we have parasympathetic nervous system, which functions exactly opposite to what sympathetic nervous system does. This calms you down, right? So, what does it do? It constricts the pupil. It constricts the pupil means your eyes would come back into normal size, might even relax and become smaller also. It stimulates salivation. Now you are all in safe zone. You are free. You can eat. You can salivate. You can do anything you want. Body is all free to use energy for whatever you want to do. It slows the heart rate. No need of rushing blood to all part of your body, so the heart can slow down. Constricts bronchi. मतलब bronchi become small. Bronchi become smaller. Not enough air required. The amount of air coming in naturally is enough to sustain the body. So bronchi also become smaller. Stimulates digestion. If you had any food in your tummy, digestion is continued by parasympathetic nervous system. It stimulates digestion at that point. It causes bladder to contract. So at this point, if your bladder is full, you will feel like urinating and you will go and urinate also. So you can remember this because this question comes most of the time in your exam about functions of the autonomic nervous system. Maybe sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system differences also you can be asked. You just need to remember one of it. Under sympathetic, either remember everything under the sympathetic nervous system because then opposite of would be what happens in parasympathetic nervous system. All right. So that was autonomic nervous system for you. Let's summarize this quickly. So what did we learn? We learned that there is nervous system. It is divided into central nervous system and peripheral nervous system. Central nervous system is the command center, right? It controls every function of the body. And what is PNS? PNS or peripheral nervous system is like the what? Communication channel. It's the, you can say that it's the communication channel. All the information that is coming from CNS is taken by the PNS. All the information to the CNS is also taken by the PNS. And again, central nervous system is composed of brain and spinal cord. These are the two organs that are involved in processing all the information coming in and taking all the decisions. PNS is further divided into efferent and afferent. Efferent is motor, taking information away from the central nervous system or exiting from the central nervous system. Afferent is arriving or sensory information which is coming into the central nervous system. So afferent nervous system takes information to the central nervous system. Okay, so this is something that you need to remember to, and this takes away. Okay, efferent system is further divided into autonomous nervous system and somatic nervous system. Somatic nervous system is involved in voluntary functions and autonomic nervous system is involved in involuntary functions. Involuntary function which you are not consciously in control of. Voluntary something you purposefully do by your own free will, right? And autonomic nervous system is further divided into parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system. Both of these are antagonistic to each other. I hope this was easy for you to remember. Uh, you can just remember this infographic. You can note it down somewhere or maybe take a screenshot, right? So if you remember these names, it would be easy for you to write about it also. Now that we have summarized, let's look at what kind of questions have come from this topic in our previous years. So in June 2024, the question came, elucidate the peripheral nervous system. When a question like this comes, you have to write everything about peripheral nervous system, right? So elucidate means you have to arrive at peripheral nervous system. So maybe you can start with nervous system. What is nervous system? What does it do? And then what are the two types? CNS and PNS. Okay. Central nervous system. You can write it's composed of brain and spinal cord. You do not have to go into detail there. Then come to peripheral nervous system and then write what is peripheral nervous system? What are the functions of peripheral nervous system? What are the two types of peripheral nervous system, that is efferent and afferent, and then go into the classification. that what efferent is further classified into somatic and autonomic, and then further from there sympathetic and parasympathetic. You have to write all of this for 10 marks. Make it brief. I have given you a brief outline and lecture here. You can just write as it is or maybe add 1 or 2 points to all these. Okay. Again in June 2023 the question came, explain the functions of sympathetic and parasympathetic divisions. See, it's easy. All you need to write is what is sympathetic and parasympathetic division. Okay. From it comes under peripheral, right? It comes under autonomic, right? And then you have to remember one of these. Either you remember sympathetic or you remember parasympathetic. Because if you remember one, the other is exact opposite of that, right? So you can write that also for 10. We have covered that part also here. December 2022 it came, differentiate between somatic nervous system and autonomic nervous system, right? I think this also we have learned. Somatic is what? Involuntary or voluntary? What is it? Remember, somatic is voluntary nervous system, controls voluntary functions, and autonomic nervous system, it is responsible for involuntary functions. And under autonomic nervous system comes parasympathetic and sympathetic. So when you are asked to differentiate between somatic nervous system and autonomic nervous system, you have to write about what these are, what are their functions. Under autonomic, you have to also mention sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems. Then in June 2022, the question came, explain the functioning of autonomic nervous system. Again, they are indirectly asking you about sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. So you can write what is autonomic nervous system, what are the general functions of autonomic nervous system, and under autonomic nervous system, sympathetic and parasympathetic divisions, and in which conditions these become active and what they. That was all you needed to know about nervous system. In our coming videos, we'll dig deeper into the two main organs of the central nervous system, which is brain and spinal cord. So I hope you understood whatever we have learned today. These are important parts and question comes most of the time, either in 4 full 10 marks or part questions in 5 each. Right? Thank you for watching. All the best for your biopsychology exams. If you found this video helpful, make sure you like, share and subscribe. Okay. So see you in the next video. Until then, happy learning.